Milan FinTech Summit 2024, Allianz MiCo, Milan, 2 days of work to talk about the future of FinTech and innovation in financial and banking services. In this moment, we are together with Meirav Harel, who is international lecturer and advisor of the future of financial technology and money. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, my pleasure.
So, Myra, with you, we want to talk about the importance of having a governance on data because in a world where the digitization has a huge drive and the artificial intelligence advent has changed all the things, all the industries, and all the businesses also, and the way of working in the business world, we want to better understand why have a governance on the data is important and how to do it in the best way possible.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Who generates the data? Who creates it?
We generate the
The
data.
people, right? All of us, whoever's
Yeah.
watching us, even without noticing, we're walking and we generate data. We're talking, we generate data. We're shopping, we generate data. We're watching Netflix, we're generating data all the time. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Who is making money from our data?
From a, I think me not, but I don't know the other
Right.
people.
And
I
I'm going
think
to ask
not.
another question. Where is your data right now? Who has it? Who has
Depends
access
on the
to it?
data, but I think everywhere, and I don't know that.
Exactly. So there's kind of a problem right now, right? Because people create the data, but somebody else uses it, makes money off it, sends it from one place to the other, sells it, and we don't even know about it. We can't control it. Okay. And that's kind of problematic. It's not fair, is it? It's not very fair, right? It would
It's
be
not so good.
it's
It's
not
not.
so good and it's not fair. And the problem becomes even more interesting because the moment our data is put into AI, nobody, not even the creators of AI, know
But
where it's
maybe
going.
also the creators of AI don't know where.
They don't know. They
where-
don't. They really don't know because the moment you put information into AI, AI does its own little thing, right? So we're at a time where we need to sit down and think of how we want to treat data, okay? Because we're talking about data economy, and many years we've been saying data is the new oil. So when you think about it, we, all of us as humans, we're little walking oil wells that are generating the new kind of oil of the world, but we're not making any money off it.
But in this sense, what we can do to manage this problem, this issue of governance of data,
Exactly.
and mostly in a market like the fintech one or the finance in general,
Yeah.
but the fintech
Right.
in the specific side,
Hmm.
what we can do to control the data
Yeah.
and to have back a
The
feedback
mhm.
on where they are and have back a benefit from there.
So there are different things that can be done by different players. First of all, regulators, they're making a lot of regulations regarding data. One of the regulations should be thinking about this aspect and putting on the table and asking, should the data maybe be put under the category and the regulation of intellectual property? Why is the data that you're creating not your intellectual property? Shouldn't it be that way? So the first thing that can be done is by regulators that come and care about these things to come and say, okay, let's put the data under the category of intellectual property and treat it that way. Now, the moment that that happens, then all the players have to comply, right? Just like you're using music of somebody else, you have to have rules and you have to pay royalties to the creators, right? That's one thing.
In fact, under this point of view, this edition of Milan FinTech Summit is linked to the music.
Huh.
And for the music, for example, the rights are one of the most important thing because if you
Exactly.
create a song,
Yeah.
I need to pay you for the song because it's
Exactly.
like the data.
Exactly.
But also in the music, for example, with the creation of Spotify, for
Hmm.
example, some years ago there were some problems in terms
Yeah.
of rights,
Exactly.
and maybe also today there are some issues on this,
Hmm.
and how to try to manage also linking the challengers, the incumbent, the
Exactly. Hmm.
traditional
Yeah.
institutions, the people, the customers, and other
Right,
things
right.
like that.
So I think if we're asking what's the next thing that needs to happen is that people need to realize that this is what is happening. When you go and talk to people, they don't even think about the aspect that they are generating data
Mhm.
and that somebody else is harvesting it and making money off it. And then when they think, they're like, wait, maybe I can make money off my data, and the answer is yes, your data is very valuable. It is what makes the
And maybe
revenue.
you don't know that your data
You're
is
not. You have
valuable.
no
So
idea. You have no idea. I mean, when Facebook was selling information to Cambridge Analytics, the people that their data was being sold did not know about it, right?
but
They
you
didn't make.
can't lock it.
Oh, so this is where technology can come into play,
Mm.
because there are technological tools that enable us to mark each little piece of data and allows people to collect this data.
Mm.
And then we, the people, can decide if we want to give the data and to whom we want to give it, and if we allow it to be sold again and again, and if we want to get some sort of revenue or royalties from it, why not? Okay. Now imagine the beauty of this, because that means that every one of us could be making another little salary
Yeah,
based on our data.
a percentage on the data, and so yes,
Exactly. Why
absolutely.
not? It should be ours, right? We're creating it.
And so we are entering in the another topic. So to have this possibility, we need the right technology.
Yeah.
And during these last 5 6 years, we'll say the blockchain and NFT technology was the game changer
Mm-hmm.
under this point
Mm-hmm.
of view,
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
order to have a control on where, why, when, who, what.
Exactly.
But this could be useful also for this
Exactly,
kind
for
of
tools.
process.
Yes, there's a whole industry that's called Web3. Okay, why Web3? Because they're talking about recreating the internet for the third generation. Because
Okay.
Web 1 was when the internet was, you had content and people could just read.
Okay.
The second generation, Web 2, which we are now in, people can read things, but they can also write things, right?
Okay.
But the problem is that all the information that is being generated is in the hands of select few, right? The big technology vendors, right? And the big corporations. So the whole industry of Web3 exactly talks about that. They're saying, let's move the data back to the creators. Okay. So there are different kinds of solutions in this industry of using exactly blockchain and smart contracts that enable the ownership of your own data. For instance, you have solutions that are like Facebook, but for every post that you put up, you could be getting royalties if it becomes viral. Okay. And you have other solutions that come when you're looking for things, searching on Google. You know that when you search on Google, your information is collected about you, right?
Okay.
So what? And they show you commercials, right? So there are other projects in the blockchain world that you can use Google or use Chrome or whatever you want, but they are the ones that are showing you the commercials, and on every commercial that you watch, you get paid for it.
Yeah.
So you're actually monetizing your time and your preferences, right? So these solutions, there's a whole industry called Web3 that is doing exactly that from a point of ideology, that this is the way it should be, and people should be getting the money and the value from their own assets, their own data.
So the next step could be so the decentralized
I
finance,
hope. I
or
don't know.
decentralized
so
because
so yeah.
today the DAO, so the
Yeah, the
decentralized
DAOs. Yeah,
autonomous
yeah,
organization,
yeah.
are not so known,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but
It's still in the
they are.
fringes. It's still this whole industry, the Web3 industry, is still kind of like on the side. Okay.
Okay.
And truthfully, it's not an easy job. Why?
Yeah.
Because you're competing against very strong companies, right? These startups that I told you about, or these companies that let the people make money from the data, are who are their competitors? Their competitors are Facebook and Instagram and all the
Yeah,
rest of it.
absolutely.
So if people don't know that their data is being used and harvested and somebody's making money off it,
Yeah.
and they don't think, wait, maybe I should be using this different
Maybe I
platform.
can do the
Yeah, I
same.
should just
Yes.
move to this platform and I get the same. I could do the same things,
Yeah.
but I get the money back. I get paid for the data that I am generating, right? So what would be the next step? That depends on, first of all, on user preferences, what people will be using, because the more people understand it, they will be looking for more solutions that enable them to collect their own data. And the second thing, which is what I personally think is the right thing, and I advise corporations and regulators around the world. Okay, and what I think that the most correct way, or the best fair way to create the future, would be that the regulation that is happening anyway would take into account these aspects and say data should be treated like intellectual property and should fall under the umbrella of the regulations that exist for intellectual property. And then you have the solution that comes from the top, and the corporations will have to somehow find a solution.
Mhm.
And people, even if they're not aware of it, could get the value of what they're generating anyway.
And we hope this come true soon, because
Yeah.
it's so important to also to protect the intellectual property. Also, I mean, as journalists,
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
important, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we hope that this will come true soon. So thank
Not
you
only
for,
that, it would be really good for all of us to have
for all,
another
obviously.
salary.
No,
All of us
obviously.
could have a salary. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Like all of us had a few more euros every month just from the data that we're generating anyway.
It's not so bad.
Not so bad at all. Not so bad at all.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us and for your
My
spotlight on
pleasure.
this.
My pleasure.